Alright, in this second video, what I actually want to show you is one pretty simple application of the basic sorts of things that we can do with spreadsheet calculations. And this is called making an invoice or a bill for something. So I actually took my my mother-in-law's business, which is she owns a bakery, and I took some of her prices. So she makes biscotti and other sort of desserts. So a two-piece biscotti bag, she costs that it costs $1.76. A single biscotti is 92 cents. A six-piece gluten-free biscotti is $5.46, and I've done some other items here. So let's say I'm going to make up an invoice here. Let's say for a customer. So let's say a store buys 10 two-piece biscotti bags, 24 2 dozen single biscotti, let's see, 10 six-piece gluten-free biscotti, a dozen cupcakes. Let's say they buy 4 dozen cupcakes, 3 dozen blondies, 5 dozen pecan bars, and 48 black and white cookies. All right, reasonable totals. Now, I want to figure out. So here are my prices. They're already in there. These are prices that were decided by the business that they're going to charge. And here's how much the customer wants of each. All right, well, how would I figure out how much the total would be for this customer for two-piece biscotti? Well, I would want to take my 176 and multiply it by 10. And that gives me 17.6, which we really know, by the way, is $17.60. So I'm actually going to highlight this row, put it in a dollar sign. Now it'll make it money. It'll format it as money. Now, this is fine, but I would have to go through each individual row and column here. I would have to do 0.92 times 24. Whoops. Equals that, etc. The goal here really is not for me to have to type in all these individual calculations. The goal should be for Google Sheets to really be doing the work. So I'm going to delete these formulas, and I'm going to start all over. And instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to write equals this number times this number. And I get 1760. Well, that did a great job. Now, I want to copy this formula to the next cell. So if I hit this blue arrow, the blue square here in the corner, if I mouse over it, I get a crosshair, and if I can click and drag, if you notice, when I click and drag, the original formula was B4 times C4. Now this formula is B5 times C5. Okay, cool. Now if I keep doing that, I can click and drag, and we've done this before, and we'll get subtotals for each individual category simply by multiplying by what's in the B column by what's next to it in the C column. All right, awesome. Now, let's say I wanted to get the tax on each sale. So the tax rate I have here in Westchester County is 7.375%. So the tax would be equal to 7.375% of is times the subtotal. Okay, just fine. So the tax on this sale would be $1.30. And I could migrate that down. Now, let's say the tax rate changed. Let's say it was 8.275%. Well, I could go in here and change this to 8.275%. But then I would have to change that for everything. That would be annoying. So instead what I want to do is I actually want to delete this. And if I wanted to calculate the amount of tax, I'm going to type in equals my tax rate, which I'm always going to put here, times this subtotal. Press enter. Okay, cool. Now I have a formula with an input times an input. That's a good thing. I never really want to have anything other than an input in a formula, meaning I don't want to have to actually put the number in here. I want to be able to put that in one spot and have it change throughout the sheet. Now let's say I drag this down. Interesting. When I drag this down, I get 0. Let's see why. Well, when I dragged it down here, it went from B12 times D4, which was great. I wanted to do this number times D4, to B13 times D5. Well, I wanted it to go to D5 because I wanted to do the single biscotti subtotal, but I didn't want the tax to go lower. In other words, I wanted this to be B12 times D5. There's a really handy way to do that. And the handy way is to freeze the reference. So notice if I just scroll down here, okay, it fills in the formula as though everything goes up by a row. So B12 times D4, the next row would be B13 times D5. And the next row would be B14 times D6. And the next row would be B15 times D7. Well, I don't really want that. I want B12 to stay the same and D4 to continue to scroll down. And here's how we do that. What we do is we put a $sign in front of the B and a $sign in front of the 12. And what that does is it says, don't change row B and don't change column B and don't change row 12 when you scroll down. So watch what will happen now. If I scroll this formula down, the B12 now stays the same because I put those $signs in front. And I now have my tax for each row. So I just wanted to show you, if you wanted to calculate your tax, that if you had a rate that you had fixed, what you'd really want to do is keep that rate fixed by using what's called absolute referencing. In other words, I'm keeping this 7.375 frozen. It's absolute in the spreadsheet. And by the way, the advantage of this is, let's say the tax rate just changes to 8.275. I just got to put that in and voila, all my taxes change. Okay? Or let's say you wanted to give someone a discount. You could create a discount tab here as well. Okay? All right, awesome. So now let's say I want a total, okay? So I'm going to press equals. I would like to sum my entire row here, okay, D4 to D10, okay? And actually I want to do that plus my tax, plus my sum of E4 to E10. And voila, I now have my total bill. So what you're going to be doing in the next project, it's sort of a mini project, just to get you kind of used to these, using some formulas for things, is you're going to be creating an invoice, but you're going to be creating an invoice from a fast food bill. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a spreadsheet that is a fast food bill. And the goal of this mini project, it's a mini project, it's only going to take us maybe a day between now and Thursday. The goal of the mini project is to get some practice using some formulas, and along with being able to apply those formulas to a meaningful life setting. So you're going to use the website fastfoodmenuprices.com. You're going to pick a fast food restaurant, and you're going to order food for 130 senior classmates going on a trip. Your class has about 130 seniors. And you're going to have to think about what to order and how much it'll cost. So some requirements for the project. You have to have enough food for 130 hungry seniors in your bill, but not too much. Thus, you're going to have to think about how much reasonably everyone could eat. You have to have a minimum of 8 different food items in your bill. So there's going to be some variety. Not everybody likes the same thing. You have to use formulas in Google Sheets to create a total for your bill. You're going to have to calculate the tax, and you'll need to use relative and absolute referencing correctly. So basically, you're going to have to create a bill or an invoice, a mini little invoice, using whatever fast food restaurant you want. Okay? And that's going to be our next little mini project that you're going to work on. And as we work on these little projects, and I'm going to give you more things to do each day, we're going to get closer and closer to being able to apply certain concepts to our college spreadsheets and then creating a grade book. All right, thanks, guys.